India does not need only political independence, it needs economic independence.
For over 100 years, this family has been making the floors for some of India's most iconic buildings. Last year, Bharat Tiles supplied tiles for the Indian Parliament.
You know, we've done the High Court, we've done Cathedral School, we've done BMC headquarters, we've done Salajung Museum.
One day he sat in his uncle's chair and said, "One day I'm going to sit over here." I said, "No, you're not. You'll have to earn your right to sit in this chair."
And after 10 years only, I told her, like, now you need to stop. Now it's either you or me. 10 saal jhela, abhi nahi.
It worried me. I said, after he took over, I will not give a personal guarantee for any loans that you take. Your fun and your funeral.
But their greatest battle wasn't making the floors, it was keeping the business alive.
When my father died, my mother was left with a company with losses. She took some of the factory sheds and started giving them out for warehousing. She gave away more than half the office to a bank. People would ask me, is Bharat still alive? Is it still functioning, you know?
So what makes a family fight for a business everyone else thought was over? Let's find out. Dilnavaz ma'am, Firdaus, welcome to Inherited.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much for doing this. With this show, we talk to family businesses and the ones with a legacy. And yours, it's 104 years, which is incredible. When Bharat Floorings and Tiles, BFT, started back in 1922, it started during the Swadeshi movement.
Yes.
And it was almost the act of patriotism to start a business back then. What were the stories that you would hear when you were growing up at home, the dinner table conversations?
My father had quite a philosophical bent of mind. My mother was the practical one. They both felt that one should give back to the country in which you live. So my father was studying to be a lawyer. He was doing his articles as a solicitor. But a family friend, in fact, his brother, who was an architect, was working in Karachi. Karachi was at that time part of undivided India. Yeah. And he had a very close mentor and friend called Jamshed Nasarwanji Mehta, who was highly revered by everybody, from Mahatma Gandhi to the common person, because of his character, his values. And he used to come and stay at our house. It was a joint family 5-story building, and he used to come and stay when he came to Mumbai. And he said to my father that, how many people will you employ as a lawyer? India does not need only political independence, it needs economic independence. So why don't you start a business? So my father said, look, he must have been about 26 years old at that time. I don't know anything about running a business and I don't have any money. How will I start a business? So Jamshed said, my family has a tile business in Karachi called Nasarwanji Tiles. And we will help you. I will be your partner. And you start a tile business. So he borrowed 30,000 rupees from a kind relative who gave it free of interest. And every time my father thought he was going to die, which happened several times because his health was not well, he would tell me, remember to return that loan of 30,000 rupees, because it wasn't even probably on paper, you know, it was just... And then one day he finally said to me, the loan has been returned. I said, thank goodness. I don't. So he really started with a borrowed capital of this 30,000 rupees and started the factory at Mora, Uran, because that is where the family used to have a little distillery liquor business, which they used to make out of roses and mogras and oranges. And I remember big red signboards with white where, where Good Housekeeping is on Queen's Road. We used to live on Queen's Road. There was a big hoarding saying equal to the world's best. Bharat Tiles, equal to the world's best. So this was his motto, to make tiles which would be at a lower cost than the imported tiles from England, and that they would be of the same quality. And that's how he succeeded. Actually, in 2 years, he got the British imports gone, and you will find a whole lot of buildings where the British administrators
They were using Bharat
were
tiles.
using Bharat tiles. The Royal Mint, the University, the Raj Bhavans, which was quite ironic because the idea was to drive them out, which we did.
So Firdaus, you are third generation into this, and last year Bharat Tiles supplied tiles for the Indian Parliament, which is
Yes.
quite a feat. So did you ever see yourself running Bharat Tiles when you were growing up and seeing your mother, navigate her way through, this company, building it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so growing up, I used to go to the factory. I used to always enjoy going there. It was lovely to go to the factory at Kurla that time, see the production of the tiles. It was, there was a real sense of activity and life, energy. And
Yeah.
then, come to the showroom. There were a lot of, it was like family running it. So it was great. Meet my grandmother, my uncle, my mother. It was like being in a
Family get
environment.
together.
Yeah, family get together.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great to see this kind of thing. So I always felt like, yeah, this is something I would like to do.
One day he sat in in his uncle's chair
Yeah.
and said, "One day I'm going to sit over here." I said,
How old
"No, you're
was he?
not." Oh, it must be 8, 9, 10. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I don't remember how old he was. But so he sat himself comfortably down in that chair and said, "One day I'm going to be sitting here." And I said, "You'll have to earn your right to sit in this chair. It's not going to
Be handed to you.
hand it to you." Yeah.
So, ma'am, you went to IIM and then you had your own stint.
Yes.
You worked with WWF and you worked with, a couple of other corporates. What was it like for you to see that transition, of your mother from, housewife to running the business now?
So after my BCom, an MBA seemed the most attractive option. Otherwise, to be a lawyer or something else. And I had admission at Wharton and LSE, and IIM had just opened. But because my parents said that they couldn't afford to send me to abroad for studies unless I was willing to do what my sister had done, which is she went to MIT, but her fees were paid for by Grandwell Norton, which was actually a closely held family business at that time. But she had to sign a bond for 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So your father made his own child signed the bond that
Signed the
you
bond.
Yes.
come back and work in the
it was-
company
yes.
if we are funding your education.
Yes, but it was run by, at that point, by his nephew, who was really the managing director.
Okay.
My father was looking after Bharat Tiles. So I had the same option. And I said, I'm not signing any bond. So I'd rather go to IIM, which cost a fraction of the overseas studies cost. And it was delightful because we had Harvard professors, and Vikram Sarabhai was the director when I joined.
But you were also one of 3 women in that batch.
Yes.
That's the first ever batch.
Yes, yes.
How was it like for you? What are the kind of transition that you saw in your mother when she,
Yes.
got in?
I mean, look at the level of commitment that she had. Bharat started making the losses from the 1960s and 70s. When high-rise buildings came up, earlier people were building their own houses and they wanted quality. The moment the builders' lobby came in, the high-rise buildings, then they didn't care about it. They were selling by square foot.
Correct.
And the person who bought it would perhaps rip out the floor, or the purchase manager would want a bribe under the table, and so on. So we were totally unsuitable for that kind of business. When my father was ill, it had already started in 1972. And then he died, and my mother was left with a company with losses, heavy losses in the tile business. It must have been a tremendous strain for her. She then retrenched people. She took the factory, some of the factory sheds, and started giving them out for warehousing, and that saved the company because then
The
there
rent
was
of the warehousing.
the rent from the warehouses, and even our office, she gave away more than half the office to a bank, took a loan from the bank in order to retrench the people, and they offset the rent against that loan. So she had to take some as I said, she was a very practical person. She took these very practical decisions, which kept the company afloat. Of course, at that point of time, we didn't own any of the properties. So there was nothing that she could liquidate in order to close down, I suppose. Or she wanted to keep it going, though she always gave me the freedom that if you don't want to run the business, you don't need to. So she didn't insist that, we take on the business. But I was finding that my mother would go off on a holiday and come back. So I said, what is going on? Why are you cutting short your trips to your brother and vacation? She said, no, there's financial problems with Bharat. So then I got into it, and I found that there had been losses
for several years.
Many years. So I said, okay, I will get involved, but only again on flexi time, because he was still a demanding
toddler.
toddler, yes. So I looked after the property and the warehousing division. And every year the tile business would eat up all the profits that were being made in the warehousing division. So we'd be left with almost nothing at the end of the year. So that's how the family got to saying that let's close down the tile business. Thereafter, I took on the tile business.
So Firdaus, for you, like your mother is saying that when you were a toddler, she was, juggling between being a mom and trying to help her mom as a businesswoman. What is your sort of memory of her getting involved in business?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I do remember she was very stressed out. I mean, as a child, you do kind of pick up that, your mother is very stressed out. My dad was not very stressed out. He was very easygoing, laid back. I mean, always felt like
Chilled,
yeah. And mom was always like highly driven. When I learned the words finally, I realized it's A-type personality, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, mom was always like very, always juggling something, 5 different things at the same time, usually. You went to office as a kid and you just saw like a business running and uncle, aunt, grandmother, mother, everybody's there. And seems to be everyone's, salam kind of thing. So, you think that it's great, this is like a great thing to be, like a businessman.
A quick pause before we continue. If you are enjoying this conversation, you will also enjoy Personal Finance Club. It's our WhatsApp community where we share the practical, simple insights on personal finance without all the noise. The link to join will be on the description. Now, back to the conversation. So, what was your induction to business like?
So, I had like 2 periods of training. One was that when I joined after I think I came back from Singapore, I was applying for my US MBA. Mom was like, you need to do an MBA. This is important. And also she put more pressure. She said, if you want to do an MBA, then this is the only time I'm willing to pay for it. Otherwise, I won't pay for it ever again. Better do it now. So I said, okay, fine. So I started working at Bharat. I think I worked in sales. We used to sell a lot of checkered tiles. That was like our business, big business was checkered tiles. And then at some point, mom came and she was like, we have these beautiful molds with the brass molds in the factory. So what do you think we should do with them? Then someone approached her from the Kala Ghoda Association and they were like, we're going to have this exhibition which is about the heritage of Kala Ghoda. So can you help us out with a few tiles? So, those molds were suddenly in
Exhibition.
use. No, I mean, they were put to use. So
Okay.
the technique for making those tiles was revived
Okay.
by, I don't know how, it was like magic. Some
Very difficult.
factory manager said, I may have a clue, because they had not been making these tiles since
For years.
1930.
Oh, wow. So this was 1990s we're talking about.
1990s.
Yeah.
90s.
So for so many years the
60
tiles have not
years.
been made. But somehow or the other, like I guess things remain in the collective consciousness of a company. So somebody knew somebody who had seen somebody who had made it. Something came out and then they said, okay, I think this is how they made it. And then they made a few samples. They were awful. Like they used to make like 50 tiles. Out of that, one used to be nice. So like that, we kept making 50 tiles, and then like one, we collected them, we made 4.
Yes.
Then we made another 50 tiles, again I collected 4, which were like decent. And then Kala Ghoda festival, they give us like some tables in the garden next to that
David
Baliwala
Sassoon.
and Holi.
No, David Sassoon.
David Sassoon Library. They put
Yeah.
them over there. The tables were put there, and then the tiles were bichhowed. And we all went there and we were like, great, yeah, they are like chutti types, Kaam pe nahi jana hai.
Kaam pe nahi
You have to
jana
just
hai.
here chill in this like.
Fest mein jana hai.
हाँ.
Yeah.
And it was good. I mean, like there was people came, interviewed us, and then they saw the tiles, they filmed them. I think we came on TV also. And then I didn't think much about it. I left and went off to do my MBA. So maybe around 5-6 years later, I come back and suddenly like I find out that these tiles saw a revival.
Yeah.
Now, we've done the High Court, we've done Cathedral School, we've done BMC headquarters,
Salajang Museum.
we've done Salajang Museum,
The heritage styles now all of
Heritage
a sudden.
styles.
and they're called the Heritage Tiles.
Now I remember how we sweated to try and even make enough those 4 tiles for different periods of the. And then the response was so encouraging. People would say, "Oh, this was in my house when I was," and the first order was from the Rugby Hotel in Matharan.
Oh, acha.
They said, "Can you make these for us?" And then there was a Salajang, then there was this pre-primary school for the cathedral and so on. The architects were enthused, and some of the people who came to the exhibition were enthused. But we really hadn't a clue how to. The lines would go all over the place. I mean, it was a sweat to make a floor at that point.
But that's when the company also started getting back on its feet.
That was in 1999 when the family said we've had enough of the tile losses.
Yeah.
We're all getting old. My sister and my cousins were all 10 years older than me. So they said, look, our children are not interested and we don't want to be involved. So I called the 3 senior most people and I asked them, I said, do you want to take a golden handshake? You all are young enough to relocate in another business. If you want to try and turn around this loss-making company, then I will buy out the shareholding from the rest of the family. So they said, no, we want to try and turn it around. So then we rented a factory, ran it from a rented premises while I looked around for a place that we could buy. And so that I bought it personally in another company and they became the tenants. I mean, I became the tenant because at that time he wasn't still with us. So that the 2 things were separate. Even though they were both, in a sense, my company. I was a full shareholder of the Bharat Floorings and Tiles. And I was a full owner of the property.
The premises. Yeah.
Premises. But the reason for keeping it separate was that if one ever wanted to either close down or sell off
The business.
the tile business, the property doesn't get sucked into it because property has value as property.
Yeah.
And The business has,
So this is the distinction that you made after you took over the
after
business.
I took over, even though it was my own left hand and right hand at that point of
But you've
time.
always maintained that distinction.
Always maintained
that
the
the property
distinction.
is separate, business
Yes.
is separate.
And as I said, I had got these three. So I told the finance chap, he was really then the CEO, that no more of this cross subsidizing. I've seen it for so many years that the property and warehousing was subsidizing
The tile business.
the survival of the tile business. Now we either make it or break it as independent businesses. So for 2 years, I will not charge rent. After that, I will start charging rent from the business for the
Property use.
for the property being used, so that the real profitability of the business can be understood.
A lot of people do not make what is, family property versus what is business property. The way you have made a distinction is the property in itself is a family property or my asset.
Yes.
And what's running on it, the
Yes.
business, is a separate entity.
Right. And complete freedom. If you find that the rent is unacceptable, go and run it anywhere else. You know, hire a shed in a MIDC or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it over here. You have the liberty to. But if you want to use this, then pay market price.
So now that Firdaus is running the business,
Yes.
is he paying the rent for the property?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
of course.
definitely.
He's using up more space than he's paying rent for, but I have to revise it.
Probably.
I give them only part of my property, saying you can only use this much. But now the one more shed and one more shed and one more shed, so I have to revise the rent.
What is your reading of this kind of arrangement in family businesses where,
No, I definitely think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
so from that, what is your advice?
My only
to the
thing is that
family?
when she was running the business, that time she didn't charge herself rent.
Oh, yes,
Later
I
on, when
charge-
I took it over, then she charged
No,
me rent.
that's not true. I said left hand, right hand, both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
yes.
true that you didn't charge yourself the
Of
rent?
course I charge. At one point, as I said, I told him that I want to retire at 65 and you need to decide whether this business was of interest.
What was that
to you or not.
conversation like? I'm interested. Yeah.
I don't know what it was like from his point of view.
Yeah.
I had a lot of interest in environment and rural development and social work. So it wasn't that I was going to be, so like my parents were so identified with their
Business.
business. It wasn't like that for me. I was having multiple roles that were all satisfying.
Do you think that it's important for business families and particularly business people to have identity outside of the business? Because then it's easier for you to let go
It's
or
not
pass
from
on
a
to the next
family,
generation.
from a business point of view, but from an individual's point of view. I had seen my cousin who was superb. He built up grindware and he would work 7 days a week because the factory would be closed on Friday when the office was open, and the factory would be working on Sunday when and he would work all those 7 days. And once he retired, he deteriorated in a way that was sad for me, because he had really played such an important role. He knew that he had worked under that Czechoslovakian who had made him work on the press and sweep the floor.
Yeah.
And he knew the business inside out, but it was his primary life. And,
The primary identity was with the business.
With the business.
When you
not
took the
even
business.
identity. I think it's what is engaging your mind, engaging your time, and then suddenly if it's
Gone, then
away,
there's nothing
what do
else
you-
to look
what do you
forward to.
Put in its place. So that was never, as he says, I like to do 5 things at the same time. So I always had 4 other things. So it was just that I needed to know whether he wanted this passed on to him. If not, I wanted to be able to close it down in a very nice way.
So had he not joined, then the business would have been closed?
Closed, sold, whatever. I never had to come to that point.
Okay.
Because when we had this conversation, he sort of thought and he said, he was working with Tata Teleservices. If I have to come into the business, this is the time, because later on I'll be earning too much to want to come into this small business.
Yeah.
That's
what is your version of story from that point on?
Yeah,
what did you
I
tell
think-
her? What were your conditions of joining the business?
Initially, I thought I wanted to join the business. I always thought, I'll join Bharat. This is like the, teenage and other, when you're younger, thing that. Then I'd done my MBA, then worked for a couple of corporations. I was working at Tata Teleservices. So I was like, now, this is going to be my career. I'm going to become a corporate guy. And
Okay.
Promotion.
You really thought that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought now this is it. And then she said this. Then I was like, now you want me to do this. Like, you didn't want me to do it earlier.
No, definitely
Now
not.
you want me to come and do this. Like, I was a little irritated.
Yeah.
And also, she sprang this on me just, I think, 2 or 3 months before I was going to get married. So I was like, yeah, great. I'm like going to be getting married. And then it's a bit more stressful because then you have to also think about your married life, right?
Yeah.
And my wife had just graduated from ISB. And she right away was earning like 3 or 4 times more than me. When
you joined the business.
when I joined the business. So she was actually paying the rent for few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then after that, and she was also like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you doing this? Why do you want to join this business? Like, why aren't you just doing the career thing, the
Corporate thing.
So it was like she was mystified. And so, yeah, there was all this stuff going on, but I was like quite clear. I said, let's give it a shot. Corporate job can always come later.
Yeah.
should
So
be
how was
fine.
it like working with your mother? Was it difficult or was it?
Yeah, because like the personalities were totally different. My mother is very, very perfectionist.
Perfection.
No, not systematic.
Okay, not systematic. Perfectionist.
Yeah.
But perfectionist, like if there was a brochure or something, then everything has to be gone through like 5 times. Like it should have no
Errors.
and the grammar will be revised again, again, and again, and again. And so I would write out some copy for stuff and then be like, let's just go with this.
Push it
Let's
out. Yeah.
Push it out.
Yeah.
No, this is reflecting of the
Quality.
the quality of
Standard.
the standard and all. So like she would correct it, then come back second revision, correct it again. So it would go on like that. I would get frustrated that this is not like how I would do things.
Yeah.
So there was that kind of thing was there. Like she's more deliberate. She wants to get like a lot of viewpoints. I'm more like, karo dekha jayega.
Yeah. More
Do
spontaneous.
things. Yeah, do things and ask forgiveness later. Like that is my.
Yeah.
A very interesting concept which I would never have had. I will not prepare to fail on anything. If I'm doing it, then I have to succeed. He said, it's okay. You try things. And if
But I think he would
some
see-
fail, let them fail.
Yeah.
Something will succeed. Very different
But he would
approach.
think that of his overthinking, maybe like itna overthink nahi kartega. Just like do it and then see what happens.
I studied new product development in B school and elsewhere. So one of the things that always struck me is that any company's 60 or 70% revenues come from new products. But at the same time, the survival rate for a new product is only 20%. So you have to keep trying something new because you'll lose like 80% of the things you try will fail. But the 20% that are balanced, which actually succeed, will be the future.
Yeah.
So I used to be like, throw a lot of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. That used to be my thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's been a very different way of thinking about things because she would be like, throw that one thing and then that should really stick.
Yeah.
You know?
And also take a lot of time in throwing that one thing.
Yeah, and then
And did that irk you?
It worried me, for sure. It worried me which now he doesn't do. But he said, we'll spend 2 crores on putting some machine, I think we were for outdoor flooring or something. I can't remember. Without any homework, what I would consider necessary homework.
Yeah.
So the third thing I said, I will not give up, after he took over, I will not give a personal guarantee for any loans that you take. So as one of our, this manages your fun and your funeral. If you want to, you want to take a loan, so I will not be the guarantor for it. Banks ask for personal guarantees.
Yeah. So every generation, when they come into the business, Firdaus, they inherit, of course, the business, but also they also inherit some set of challenges. In your mother's case, she had to revive the business. It was a loss-making company. She had to turn it around, which she did. When she took over. What are the kind of set of challenges that you inherited when you inherited the business from her and said that, okay, I'm going to be now taking charge of the business?
The brand had been forgotten. The audience was very limited to either people who used to buy checkered tiles or as restoration architects. So it was a very limited audience, and so the first thing was, obviously getting the brand name improved. We started to work with a proper brand agency called Idea Spice, and they basically revamped the whole brand. They started to advise us, this is how you can get the word out. This is the kind of stuff you need to do. These are kind of events. So really from there, things started moving forward. We started collaborating with people, making ranges of tiles, did like events, showed them off. And even the sales guys also, they kind of like became more enthused about selling the tiles. So that was like a self kind of virtuous cycle that made the brand start coming back into
the
relevance.
first challenge was brand.
The first challenge was brand. Brand is completely forgotten. So how to bring the brand back and make it like,
story,
make people understand that it's still there. So I think one of the beautiful things now is that we have a good brand, which is like well known. The second challenge was, of course, a lot of people who had been there for a long time. So how to enthuse them, make them feel like they're part of something new, like the sales team, we had to totally revamp because we had a guy who was not frankly at his best. So change him, then get new sales guys, train them up. Because 80% of the clients were
word of mouth.
Word of mouth. So they used to sit in the office and they used to wait for someone to call them. And so really, and we did the showroom, we made the showroom look nice.
A lot of people say that when you start working with your parents, the relationship of mother and son or father and son is never the same. I want to understand purely from like a mother-son dynamic, how has that changed in those 10 years of working together?
I mean, I think that my mother being a type A personality and I'm, the laid back types. So I used to get very easily triggered by her type A thing. Just be like, chill, yeah. Why are you being so annoying? So,
take it as fault finding.
I used to take it as fault finding and, be overly sensitive, really. So I think that really brought out the parent-child dynamic quite strongly. So I think after 10 years, this is how chilled out I was. After 10 years only, I told her now you need to stop. Now it's either you or me. Okay. Then I was like, listen, abhi bahut ho gaya, 10 saal jhela, abhi nahi. Abhi, now you decide you want to run it, you run it. Then you don't be...
Then I don't want to run
it. Then I don't want to run it. You want to run it, you run it.
When I step out, I step out. Whether it was with World Wildlife Fund or BNHS or Grindwell also, the managing director said, stay on, be part-time. I said, no. Let the new person have a free hand without someone looking over their shoulders. So though we sit in the same office, some of the older people used to come to me, he's making this mistake, he's doing this, whatever. I said, no, he's running it, you go to him. Don't come and expect me to intervene. I will not intervene.
So when you were working together, were you able to just switch off BFT and just be like mother on the dining table? Or, that was difficult.
He had his own dining table by then and I had mine. So
whenever you were on the dining table together or whatsoever,
Yeah, we didn't really discuss much business on the dining table. But I would say that I had this dilemma that here is this youngster who's full of ideas and wanting to try out, but isn't financially as rigorous as the chartered accountant who was a former CEO. Now, who do I put in charge?
Yeah.
And how do I do it? So I got a management consultant who'd, it was at Mahabaleshwar, I talked to one of the friends and he said, I know somebody who's into turning around businesses. Because I said, I have this dilemma. Who do I put in charge? Because the one person will be very thorough and not growth oriented. And he's growth oriented, but he won't be thorough. And God knows where the company will go then as a result. And then the dynamics between us were getting spoiled, and I'd rather be a mother than a boss. For me, that was, more important. I was not that invested in my identity with the business that it was more important than the mother-son relationship.
Yeah.
This external consultant would work with him and the CEO. He gave a very good suggestion. He said, put the CEO in charge of operations, put him in charge of growth and marketing or development. And he would, I don't know, because I never really got involved, except for that man coming once a month and giving me a half an hour, 15-minute briefing. So that if I had to say something, I would tell it to him, some suggestion, without having to get involved directly.
Oh, but directly you never
with
went
the
to him.
operations. No. Supposing there's something I wanted to say on product quality or on the marketing or whatever, I'd say it to that guy. And he would then transmit it or have a discussion or whatever they wanted to do with it, it was up to them. At least I had got it off my chest, and then I didn't need to hold on to it. So that the area of any kind of tension of work styles was minimized.
So Firdaus, what is that sense of feeling for you?
Obviously, it was very liberating because now you can do things your own way and things move a lot faster. So, I think that was a great feeling that, though of course, I do miss that person who checks and makes sure that everything is thought through. But that, now has come because I've gotten older, wiser. So now I'm like, थोड़े decisions, थोड़े वो फालतू वाले लिए थोड़ा check किया.
नहीं लेने चाहिए थे. Firdaus, you're the third generation into it. There's a 104 years old legacy behind, what has been given to you. How do you see the pressure of, continuing that legacy and writing your own version of story in this legacy?
So actually, I learned the hard way. So, the thing is that the more you tell your parents that you don't want to listen to them, the more they want to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for the younger generation, I would say that when your parent is telling you something, you should listen and say, okay, I'll do it your way. If you say this 5 times, they will, after 5 times, they'll peter out. I've seen my mom also. She peters out after the 5th time. Then she's like, he's heard me.
Yeah.
He's heard me. Now I made my point of view.
Yeah.
If you say no, they argue and all, then it becomes like, similarly, you can't argue with your wife, right?
Yeah.
So, don't argue with the wife, don't argue with your parents. Do you like, okay, good point.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let's try it, or I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And be open-minded about it, because that parent-child relationship is very difficult to overcome, where you don't want to subconsciously accept it because there's that rebellion. But then you have to at some point also say, yeah, okay, they have a valid point. Let me try it.
Finding your own way to give the liberty to the next generation. And it's good if you're open enough, and now I'm talking to the parent, not talking to the... you have to give the space that the person should be able to tell you, get off my back, or whatever they want to tell you.
In a lot of cases, people can't even say that.
Yeah, you must make the space for that, not let your ego respond.
Yeah.
look at the interests of the company first, because you are responsible for many lives.
Correct.
When you run a company.
Yeah.
And you can't afford to let your decisions be ego-driven, and therefore you have to find your own solution. So for me, this was my solution. But each family may find its own solution. Whether you bring in I needed to bring in somebody who would play the sort of semi-chairman, like a non-executive chairman's role. So you have to find your own solution, but you have to keep the ego down and decide what is important for you, the relationship or the business.
Firdaus, your Nanaji started the business. Your mother, in some sense, got the business back to its feet. How do you see the pressure of continuing that legacy?
I would also look at it as something which is like I'm the custodian of. So, till now also, I think to some extent we've never grown using external funds or anything like that. We've always grown using our own internal earnings.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why, we are always playing it safe in some way, like trying to ensure that the boat is steady and we're not trying to bite off sometimes more than we can chew. So, for me also, it's like I feel like as someone who has to carry it to the next generation, whether they would want to or not is the question, but that's a matter for another day.
Yeah.
But keeping it in a good shape as possible and taking some of the harder decisions along the way, so that in the interest of the future, say 50, 100 years, whatever happens, one has to be very clear that, this is not just mine, it's also for a future generation to have that option open.
Yeah.
And also, one of the things is that the reason why we kept the business open also was that it's a part of the Indian and worldwide construction culture. What we produce is unique. We keep in place certain artisanal products which are unique. We provide livelihood to people who are artisans, and in an age of basic mechanization, where, everything is being mechanized. It's like almost like this obsession that humans seem to have, that let's just replace ourselves with machines everywhere. Let's replace all the tiles with, mechanized. Let's replace humans in this thing. It's like, I don't know, it's like this brink. We are rushing to this brink of like, let's just replace everything with humans. With machines.
With machines.
I feel like we hold on to a very dear part for me of keeping artisans alive, this artisanal floorings, materials. These are things which are something I would not like to lose.
Yeah.
Because when you lose it, only then you notice the absence.
Super. So we're coming towards the end of it. The last one for you, ma'am. If your father was seeing whatever, Firdaus is up to with all his innovation, and now he has got this tech where you can visualize your floor, and there's so many new collections. He's gotten designers involved in designing the tiles and whatnot, right? So what would he say if he was seeing all of this happening at BFT today?
Oh, he'd be delighted, absolutely delighted.
Yeah.
Because he left the world at a time when he saw the business absolutely down. He died in 72. The business had been going down from this maybe the mid or late 60s. So for him to see that Bharat is again the recognized name that it once was, that it is the leader in creativity, innovation, and trying to maintain quality, as he had always wanted, I think he would be so happy.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And we are at the end of this conversation. Ma'am, to you, we are going to give you a sheet. Imagine, for whatever reason, the only thing that you can give Firdaus, or the only thing that he can inherit from you, is this sheet of paper. No business, no wealth, nothing, but just this sheet of paper. If he were to inherit that, what is it that you would write on it? Imagine this is the only thing that he can inherit.
Should I give him a check?
No, sorry.
The blank check.
Okay.
Oh, you're done? Yeah.
What I would like to leave to you is a sense of fulfillment in your own self-expression and evolution.
Love. Thank you, Mom.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
So
Thank you so much for
so
being part
much.
of Innovative.
Appreciate it.
Really appreciate
It's
it.
been very
Yes.
enjoyable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.